Is your religion pure? Is our religion as a church pure? What a great question, and what a timeless answer James has given us in chapter 1, verse 27. In the words of Jesus' savage little brother, pure and genuine religion in the sight of God the Father means caring for orphans and widows in their distress. Man, I love the word pure. It's the perfect word to describe what religion is supposed to be. We've all seen impure religion, right? Another translation says faultless. What is faultless religion? Another translation says what is undefiled. And really the idea is the more religion becomes about ourselves, the less pure it really is. It spoils. In order to keep religion undefiled or to keep it pure and genuine, like James says, is to put other people before yourself, to take care of people who can't take care of themselves, to stand for people who can't stand for themselves. The way we love God is demonstrated in the way we love other people. The way we love other people shows God how much we love Him. And that's what religion is supposed to look like. Take a look at this clip. Then as a group, I want you to discuss how you're going to walk in a legacy mindset. How are we going to think beyond ourselves? How are we not going to let this life group go to waste? We're going to grow in our faith by loving and serving others in a way we've never done before. Maybe that's a greater commitment to church. Maybe that's going to Growth Track or serving, or maybe it's being a part of our Friendsgiving right here at the Freedom Center, where we'll have hundreds of friends experiencing homelessness right here on this property, and we'll be serving meals and sharing that meal with them. Maybe it's giving to the Legacy Building Fund, or maybe it's one of the initiatives that we discussed, the Foster the City or Kids Hope. I pray that you would have the courage to say it out loud to your group. That's what this group is for, so that we can all grow together. And so going into 2023, I want you to pray about this word. This is going to be the theme for the next year, 2023, as we pray about what God is, how we're gonna love Jesus, serve people, adopt a city. Do you want to share that word?
Yeah, the word for 2023 is the word legacy. And we are 11 years old as a church.
Last year doesn't count as a pandemic. It was a weird year.
Well, that's true. We're going to just X out 1 year, 2020. That was actually 2 years ago now, believe it or not.
But we're thinking about this next decade.
Yeah, we're thinking not just about the year, but the next decade. We're maturing, we're growing. And as we do that, you see that as a parent, your kids hit a certain age and they're in a different season, a different life stage. And we don't want to just think about this year. We want to think about the next 10 and even beyond as we've grown as a church. And so the initiatives this year, it was just really on our heart that they were going to look different than maybe I don't want to call it a banger, but like a one like, hey, we're going to do all these shoes and put all our efforts and our money together and have this incredible day. Instead this year, we still want to put all of our efforts and our money together to make an impact that's going to last longer than a pair of shoes or a backpack.
What does the word legacy mean to you, Maria?
It means leaving, now you're putting me on the spot. What does it mean to you?
Well, you can go to www.freedom.church/legacy for more. But I think it means to have a mindset that goes beyond yourself. Right? I think religion, when it becomes about us, is when everything goes downhill.
Yeah.
When we come to church just for us, when our faith operates just for what we're gonna get.
Yeah, that's good.
When our faith becomes strings attached with God, I'll do this for you if you do this for me. And whenever a religion becomes about yourself, that's when it's going downhill.
Yeah.
And I think legacy is a word that God's putting before us to say, hey, where's this church gonna be in 10 years?
Yeah.
Where are we gonna be in 10 years? Because this city's gonna be here in 10 years.
Yeah.
And so if we want to organize our efforts around leaving a legacy and making a lasting impact that's beyond ourselves, we need to have that kind of mindset. Every time a church is mentioned in the Bible, it's mentioned by the name of the city. That tells me that when God sees this church, he sees the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
He sees Los Angeles. So what we need to do is we need to think, hey, just like Acts chapter 6, where's the greatest opportunity to serve our city for the gospel?
Yeah.
And we can't let it just become about us and what's happening in these four walls.
So the first initiative that we wanted to present to you that we are going to be participating as Freedom Church is an organization called Kids Hope. And it is a one-on-one mentoring program with our local public school, which is just, I think, incredible that a church can partner with a public school here down the street in our city. And the way it works is that the teachers will suggest kids that are struggling in their classes. It could be that they're struggling on an education level, they are struggling on an emotional level, they need some sort of help. There's a crisis going on at home, and the teachers sense it. And they're saying, hey, we're gonna partner with the people of Freedom Church. And with this mentorship program that would last a year, every week a mentor would come into that kid's life and love them and serve them and be a consistent voice in their life. And how many know there's nothing more powerful than relationships? And I'm just so excited that LAUSD...
we didn't make up this program.
Correct.
I think that's important. It's not like we're inventing some sort of big brother, big sister program, and we're pitching it to Chatsworth Elementary, which they've already said yes, and we have more school lines up. You have a experience with this program.
Yeah, I've had a front row seat. So my mom was a teacher for 20 plus years and then became an administrator at her school. And at that school, Eagle Rock Elementary, Kids Hope, there's a church called Christian Assembly, amazing church in Eagle Rock, that partnered with her school. And so she had a front row seat to being on staff, a believer at her school, and then just seeing what this program did to not just the kids that were participants, but the entire school community. I can think of countless stories where I would see pictures of a kid that started in Kids Hope in elementary school, and then seeing a picture with their mentor at graduation, and that kid was valedictorian. So seeing how a kid that was struggling made it, and their mentor was there in their life for years to come. And another story was she was in a staff meeting, and she would always tell me, man, even like my atheist friends at work, like they love this church. Like they are all about this program. They see how it's life-giving and it's changing these kids. And she goes, we were in a staff meeting and they were having a conversation, and they're like, why do you think this church does this? Like, why are these people showing up every week and loving these kids and it's changing their life? And one of them pipes up and says, well, do you think it's because they love Jesus? And the other, teacher was like, nah, that can't be it. Like, what? And my mom says, I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, of course, it's only because they love Jesus that this church community would give of their years and their time to just love a kid that needs love and consistency and encouragement in a time of maybe crisis in their life.
So your mom, who was administrator for decades at the school, has since retired, and now she is actually heading up this program for our church. So she's gone through the training. We're looking for 25 volunteers who would say, hey, I'll give a 1-year commitment to mentoring. Pastor Lisa Pham, who's also on the team, is with her, and they're gonna be helping you guys. So if you go to freedom.church/legacy, you can kind of apply to that. And but remember how the early church did this. They said, who's got the best reputation? Who's the most spirit-filled? Who's the most wise? We need people who are serious and committed to this church being their home. And I think sometimes what I've seen in our church is people, they how do I say this nicely? Becoming a church member officially is kind of a big deal. It's a big deal to you because you're saying, I'm committing to a church. And if you're at this church long enough, you realize this church isn't perfect and we got a lot of problems and we got a lot of stuff going on and we don't got it all together all the time. But you're still saying, I'm gonna commit to this church because Jesus has asked me to commit to the body. So when you become a committed member of the church, then you can be a part of one of these programs, all right? And the reason why is because we need to see some faithfulness in your life if you're gonna get out there and do this for a year in a family. Does that make sense? The second initiative that we have, you wanna share?
Sure. It's a program called Fostering the City. And it's a Christian, Christ-based organization that partners with families of a local church to help them in the process of becoming a foster family. Los Angeles is the biggest fostering program, meaning that there are more kids in the foster system here in LA than any other city in our country. And what would it look like, Freedom Church, to have families that said, I feel a call to this? Now, the goal is not adoption. The goal of this program is to be, I've coined it in the gap. You are the family that when a kid is removed from their home, they need a family instantly to say, would you care for these children or this child for this amount of time? The goal for the kid is reunification to their family, but obviously a lot's going on. What would it look like that in a moment of trauma, for most kids, they could be welcomed into a family that loves Jesus, that's gonna pray with them, that's gonna be a sense of peace in a storm in their life?
I was just thinking the greatest moment of trauma possibly in their life, the greatest traumatic experience, being taken away from your family. Who is going to receive that child into their home and love them? I want it to be families of our church. I want it to be God-fearing, Christ-loving families that are gonna pray over those kids and love them and take care of them until they're reunited with their family. That's what I want for our church. Can I prophesy? I want our church to foster more children in Los Angeles than any other church in Los Angeles. I want our city to be like, oh, I know Freedom Church. They're the one that takes care of all of our kids. I know Freedom Church. They're the ones who takes care of the kids. Jesus had so much to say about kids. We love Jesus because he loved kids. Jesus said one time, he said to some guys that were talking bad about kids, he said, dude, if you jack with kids, it's better that you have a giant millstone tied around your neck and thrown into the ocean than what I'll do to you when you see me next. Jesus is also a savage. That's where James learned it from.
It runs in the family.
Jesus, Lord and savage. That's who he is. Okay. I share that. Sorry, I need a little bit of levity there. I was getting a little teary-eyed.
A little worked up.
These are legacy initiatives.
These are legacy initiatives.
This isn't just 2023. This is the next decade. Let's fill all of the schools up around our church with mentoring programs so that kids who are at risk, under-resourced, that we be able to journey with them and help them change their lives. It's called discipleship. Let's take care of the widows and orphans of today, the ones that can't take care of themselves, by, in their moment of greatest possible trauma, they're brought into a loving home and they're loved and they're served and they're cared for through a foster care partnership. And then lastly, maybe you're here today and you're like, well, I want to be a part of a legacy and I'm a part of this church, but I really don't see myself doing either one of those things. Well, we have one more way to do that, and that's another need. If we're going to leave a legacy in this city, if we're going to think beyond ourselves, I don't really know how to say it other than the building that we're in right now isn't going to last. Number one, 3 reasons why we need a different building than we're in right now. Number one, our church congregation is growing. Over 1,000 people have given their life to Jesus in the last 10 months. How wild is that? Like, we already do 4 services. We do 4 services, right? If our church were to double, which could happen because I think you'll lead somebody to Christ this year. What do you think? If our church doubles, we would have to do 8 services. And if you want to have a pastor that lasts, we need to find a different solution here. We need a bigger building. We need a different building, right? The building that we're in right now is a lease. I told you that. Our lease is up in 24 months. 24 months, guys. Shake your neighbor. 24 months. No, 24 months to find a new place, okay? We got to find a place. We got to build it, or we got to renovate it. We got to all that kind of stuff. Or maybe we can buy this one. The owner, I only talk to him like every month about it, but he's like, I'm not selling that building. And I'm like, you don't know my God, don't tell me. If we were to buy this building, it wouldn't be big enough, but he also owns the building next door, so maybe we could buy both buildings and do something, I don't know.
Blow some walls out or something.
Maybe. You think God has a vision for where he wants our church to go next? Can I tell you that his vision moves at the pace of our faith? So our faith is how this thing works. So we need it because the church is growing. We need it because our lease is coming up. And the third reason why we need the building is because we are very limited on a lease how much Adopt the City work we can do. So I think we could expand our pop-up pantry, our drive-through pantry. I think we could expand our homelessness program. I think we could have a building that has 100 laundry machines on it and do laundry love right here on site for all the everybody who needs. I think we could do a lot. Having a lease is limited. I'm grateful for this building. A lot of lives have been changed, but don't you know that God's going to continue to save people, and we need to get ready for that. So in order to do that, we need to raise some money. And to raise some money, we have to set a goal. So let me get a drum roll for the goal. Let me get a drum roll for the goal. Get a drum roll. If you're not drum rolling, I know you're not going to give any money. So you better. Only stingy people don't drum roll. I break the spirit of greed in Jesus' name over this congregation. Try the person next to you say, I got 5 on it.
I got 5 on it.
5 million. We need $5 million, which seems like a lot of money, but I don't know. It's a lot of money, but I think we got 24 months. I think we can do it. Will it be a miracle? Yes. Will it be the biggest thing we've ever tried to do? 100%. We've never done anything even close to that. But I think God's gonna do it through our lives. And here's how I think he's gonna do it. I don't think it's gonna be some, nephew of Elon Musk that walks in here and writes us a check. If he writes us a check, I'll let you know.
We'll take it.
Remember how I said that we're the most generous church I know? Even though we're the most generous church I know, only 50% of our church actually gives. I know that sounds crazy, but that's actually high for a church. There's 50% of our church that doesn't give anything. And that's okay, because maybe you're new to faith, and that's all right. We're a family, you know what I mean? Little brothers and sisters and babies, immaturity-wise in a family, the same weight isn't on them. But some of you guys are getting older in the Lord, and you're growing, and your faith is growing, and you gotta pitch in, and you gotta help at this church in a way you've never done before. And what happens when you begin to give is this church becomes your home. Until people give financially, they are always, can I pastor you? If you don't give monthly at this church, you're always gonna feel like a guest. You're not gonna feel like a family member. And God wants you to feel like this is your spiritual home. And he wants us to feel like your spiritual family. And he wants to increase your capacity to be generous. It says in 2 Corinthians 9, verse 7, it says that each of you should pray about how much to give and ask the Lord. Let him tell you the number on your heart, and to do so without pressure or without obligation, because he loves a cheerful giver. This is what he means. He doesn't mean somebody who gives and like, here we go, as they write a check. He means somebody who decides to obey God because they told him how much to give and then gets excited about it. Man, if this is what God's telling me to do, I'm excited about it. My wife and I have a number that's on our heart that we ask God for, and it's a big number. It's a stretch. We've never given so much in our life, but we are excited about it because we know that that means that God's doing something, and to obey and please God and to have our money that we work so hard for, anybody with me, make a difference in people's lives. That is the greatest thing. And so if you're here and you don't give it all, here's my encouragement to you. Go to freedom.church/legacy and give to the Legacy Building Fund. It doesn't matter to me how much you give. What matters to me is that you follow the way the Bible teaches us. Ask God how much to give, and then when he tells you, which will probably be a little bit more than you would tell yourself, right? How do you know if it's the Lord telling you? It's probably more than you want to give. That's how you know the voice of the Lord. No, that can't be the Lord, that's the devil. The devil would never want me to give that much. And you do that, and what that does is it's gonna get your heart in the game, okay? Jesus says, where your money goes, your heart follows. Think of this like this group that we're all investing together, and as you make investments, you begin to care more about this church and this family, right? You'll always feel like a guest if you don't give, and so I want you to begin to give. We're gonna give a significant amount on top of our regular giving. We still tithe every month. I get paid twice a month. Anybody else? First thing that happens when I get paid is I have a recurring gift set up right to Freedom Church. That's it, I tithe right away. You know why? Because I give God my first and my best. That's what I want in my heart. I want my first to go to God. Now we're setting up a second gift to the Legacy Fund because we know that this is going toward that building, and we got 24 months. And I'm gonna be looking at it every single month, right? I'm gonna be looking at that. I'm not gonna be looking at the amount of money connected to your names, okay? So like if you see me, like if you give some big donation today and you see me in the lobby and you wink at me, I don't know, okay? I don't know why you're winking at me. I don't look at it like that. But I'm praying for 500 people who do not give yet to begin giving. That's my goal. I'm gonna be praying every single day that over the next 24 months, we have 500 people who this church becomes their home because they're getting skin in the game. That's how I wanna set goals. Yeah, someone could come and write a check, solve all of our problems, but that wouldn't change the hearts of our family here. And that's what I want. Come on, will you stand to your feet? Will you pray with me? Will you lift a hand to heaven? Would you say, Jesus, I receive this word. I wanna be part of a legacy-minded church. You guys are not inspiring right now at all. I thought this was gonna be like a real chant right now. I thought we were like standing to our feet to announce something. Come on, would you say, Jesus, I receive your word. I wanna be part of a legacy-minded church. I wanna have a mindset that thinks beyond myself. I wanna be a part of a church that demands an explanation by the way we serve our city. In Jesus' name, God bless you. I love you guys. We'll see you next week.